The first thing I heard was Olivia screaming my name from somewhere behind the airbags. Hannah! Then came the smell. Burned rubber. Hot metal. Something chemical from the deployed bags. My ears rang so loudly that for a few seconds I could not tell whether the baby was crying or whether that sound existed only in my head. It did not. There was no baby crying. There was Olivia. There was blood on the shoulder belt across her white blouse. There was me, trapped behind the steering wheel of my own car, trying to explain that I had not been speeding. Marcus arrived at the hospital 40 minutes later and called me a murderer before he asked what the police had found. I had not been drinking. I had not asked Olivia to ride with me. I had not even wanted to make the trip. None of that mattered. By the end of that morning, Marcus had told every officer who interviewed him that I had insisted on driving Olivia to the company training. Before noon, Olivia's mother had called my manager and said I had pressured a pregnant employee into a dangerous commute. By the following morning, Marcus had found a lawyer. 2 days later, the baby was gone. 3 weeks later, my company placed me on unpaid leave pending an internal investigation. My insurance carrier reserved its rights because Olivia's family claimed the ride had been business-related. The company argued it was personal transportation. Marcus argued I had been acting as an employee. The police could not make a clean fault determination because witnesses disagreed about the other vehicle's speed and the signal timing. My insurer eventually settled the injury claim without admitting liability rather than take a catastrophic loss case to trial. The company's investigation separately concluded that I had blurred a private favor with a work trip badly enough to create unacceptable risk. I lost my job. Everyone agreed on only one thing. I had been driving. That single fact became a hook they hung every other accusation from. There were no messages proving I had refused to drive her. There were dozens showing that I had picked her up before. There were calendar entries where I had rearranged my morning to accommodate her prenatal appointments. There were jokes in the office about me being Olivia's private chauffeur. There were messages from Olivia saying, "You're a lifesaver." There were replies from me saying, "Anytime." Anytime. That word followed me through depositions. It followed me through the insurance dispute. It followed me through HR. It followed me when Marcus claimed I had made Olivia feel that refusing my ride would hurt her position on our project. It followed me when the company's lawyer asked why I had kept driving a woman whose doctor had advised her to reduce unnecessary travel. I had not known about the doctor's advice. Olivia had never told me. She told investigators that she had. The company believed the person who had lost a pregnancy. The public believed the person in the hospital bed. My friends tried to believe me until believing me became expensive. Then they became quiet. A year later, my savings were gone. 2 years later, I was working contract jobs under a different last name. 3 years later, Marcus dragged me back into court over medical expenses he claimed fell outside the settlement release. 5 years after the crash, I stood outside a grocery store and saw Olivia pushing a stroller. She had another child. She looked healthy. She looked happy. She saw me and froze. For 1 second, we stared at each other across a row of shopping carts. Then she turned away. I followed her. I wish I could say I did it because I wanted an apology. I did not. I wanted an answer. Olivia. She kept walking. Olivia, please. She stopped beside a silver SUV. Her hands tightened around the stroller handle. What do you want? The truth. Her face changed. Not guilt. Fear. That frightened me more than guilt would have. What truth? Did you tell me your doctor advised you not to travel that day? She looked toward the store entrance. No. My breath caught. No, you didn't tell me? No. Then why did you testify that you did? Her eyes filled. Hannah, let it go. My life is gone. That isn't my fault. You said under oath that I knew. She whispered. Marcus said we needed the claim. I felt the parking lot tilt beneath my feet. What? She began crying. We had bills. So you lied. It wasn't supposed to become all of that. My career ended. I know. You let them say I forced you into my car. She covered her mouth. I was scared. Of what? Of losing everything. I laughed once. The sound did not belong to me. So you gave them me. She flinched. Hannah. You gave them me. A car horn sounded somewhere behind us. A child laughed near the automatic doors. The world kept moving. I could not. Was the crash planned? I asked. Her eyes widened. No. Did you know there was a company shuttle that morning? She went still. Yes. Then why did you tell the insurance investigator there was no other way to get to the training except riding with me? She looked toward the store entrance. Because Marcus said the claim would be cleaner if it looked like I had no other option. So you knew the shuttle existed. She looked away. That was when I understood. She had known more than she admitted. Maybe not about the crash, but about the setup around it. The insurance. The transportation. The story they would tell if anything went wrong. I stepped backward. My heart hurt. Not metaphorically. A sharp pressure seized the center of my chest. I remember Olivia shouting. I remember sitting down hard on the curb. I remember the sky being impossibly blue. Then there was nothing. When I opened my eyes again, my phone alarm was ringing. I slapped at it and rolled onto my side. For one stupid second, I thought the grocery store parking lot had been a nightmare. Then I saw the date. Monday, September 14th. My hand went cold around the phone. The company training was Tuesday. The crash had happened Tuesday at 7:42 a.m. I sat up too fast. The room spun. My apartment looked exactly as it had 5 years earlier. The same gray curtains. The same chipped ceramic lamp. The same stack of unopened mail near the kitchen. My car keys sat in a blue bowl by the door. I stared at them. Then my phone buzzed. Olivia, morning. Olivia, can you grab me at 6:30 tomorrow like usual? Olivia, Marcus has an early site visit so he can't drive me. Olivia, baby and I owe you coffee forever. My stomach contracted. In my first life, I had replied before brushing my teeth. Of course. I'll be there. This time, I opened my laptop. At 6:18 a.m. I logged into the company HR portal. I had 4 unused personal days. I selected Tuesday. Reason, personal. Then I added Monday afternoon. My manager, Janet Morris, was already online. At 6:24, the approval arrived. Approved. Take care of what you need. I stared at the word until my eyes burned. Approved. A small administrative choice. One word that had never existed in my first life. I forwarded the approval to my personal email. Then I opened our company messenger. Me, hi Janet. Me, just confirming I'll be on approved personal leave beginning at noon today through Tuesday. Me, I will not attend the regional training tomorrow. Me, I also will not be providing transportation to any employees. Me, please let me know if anything needs to be reassigned before noon. Janet responded almost immediately. Janet, got it. Janet, I'll move your session notes to Priya. Janet, transportation is optional/personal anyway. Janet, rest. I saved that too. Then I replied to Olivia. Me, I won't be working tomorrow and won't be going to the training. Me, I'm also not available to drive you. The typing indicator appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. Olivia, wait, what? Olivia, since when? Me, my leave was approved this morning. Olivia, but you always take me. I looked at the message. That was true. It was also not the same as an agreement for tomorrow. Me, I haven't agreed to drive you tomorrow. Olivia, Hannah. Olivia, come on. Olivia, you've been driving me for months. Me, not tomorrow. Olivia, it's literally on your way. Me, I'm not going to the training. Olivia, can you still drop me off and then go home? There it was. The first version of the old trap. Not an evil plan. A request. A favor. Something small enough that refusing it felt rude. Me, no. Olivia, seriously? Me, yes. Olivia, I'm 34 weeks pregnant. Me, I know. Olivia, rideshare is awful for me right now. Me, the company shuttle leaves from headquarters at 6:15. Olivia, I'm not taking a bus for 2 hours. Me, then you'll need another transportation plan. Olivia, wow. I set the phone down. My hands were shaking. I walked to the kitchen and filled a glass with water. It took me 3 tries to drink without spilling. I was not afraid of Olivia. I was afraid of the version of myself who would see her disappointment and immediately surrender. At 6:41, she called. I let it ring. At 6:43, she called again. At 6:44, she texted. Olivia, please answer. I did. What's going on with you? Her voice sounded wounded. It worked on me immediately. I closed my eyes. I took leave. Why? Personal reasons. Are you sick? No. Family emergency? No. Then why can't you take me? Because you will bleed in my car. Because your husband will turn grief into a weapon. Because 5 years from now you will admit that you lied. I said none of it. Because I'm not available. Hannah. I'm not. She exhaled. Okay, but can Marcus use your car? My eyes opened. What? Just for tomorrow. No. He could drop me at training, drive to his site visit, then pick me up. No. His escape has been making that awful noise again. Then take the shuttle. It would solve everything. No. You're not even using it. That doesn't matter. There was a long pause. Is this about the scratch? What scratch? Nothing. My pulse changed. What scratch, Olivia? I said nothing. You just mentioned a scratch. Marcus bumped the shopping cart into your bumper last week. I had never known that. In my first life, I found a small dent months later and assumed it happened in a parking lot. Why was Marcus near my car? He moved it when you were upstairs. I gripped the counter. When? Friday. I remembered Friday. Olivia had come over after work. She said her ankles were swollen and asked if she could sit down before Marcus picked her up. I had made tea. At some point, she asked for my spare key because her tote bag was in my trunk. I had given it to her. Of course I had. Did Marcus drive my car? Like 20 feet. Why? To move it. Why? There wasn't enough room for his truck. I felt something old and ugly moving beneath the conversation. Not proof. Not yet. But pattern. Olivia, neither you nor Marcus has permission to use my car. Oh my God. I'm serious. You're being bizarre. I'm being clear. Fine. She hung up. At 7:03, I went downstairs. My car was where I had left it. I opened the glove compartment. Registration. Insurance card. Owner's manual. Then I checked the center console. My spare key was gone. For several seconds, I simply stared. In my first life, I had not discovered it missing until after the crash. I had assumed emergency responders misplaced it. I called Olivia. She answered on the second ring. What now? Do you have my spare key? Silence. Olivia. I might. Bring it to work. Why? Because it belongs to me. I was going to give it back. When? Tomorrow. Bring it today. Hannah, I'm already running late. So am I. That doesn't make sense. Bring the key. She sighed. Fine. I took a photograph of the empty key slot in the organizer where I always kept it. Then I checked my vehicle app. My car had a digital activity log. I had never used it beyond remote start. Now I opened recent access. Friday, 7:18 p.m. Driver door unlocked with physical key. Friday, 7:20 p.m. Vehicle started. Friday, 7:24 p.m. Vehicle stopped. Friday, 7:26 p.m. Vehicle locked. 4 minutes. Marcus had not moved it 20 feet. The odometer showed 2.8 additional miles. I took screenshots. At 7:22, I called my insurance agent. I need a note on my policy file that Marcus Grant and Olivia Grant do not have permission to drive my vehicle. The agent sounded confused. Are they household members or listed drivers? No. They do not live with me. I want the unauthorized access documented. Understood. Did something happen? My spare key was taken without my permission. That changed her tone. She created a note. She recommended I rekey the vehicle if I believed someone had unauthorized access. I scheduled service for that afternoon. At 7:47, I emailed myself a summary of the call. I did not know yet whether it would matter. I knew only that in my first life, every vague fact had been interpreted against me. This time, I wanted fewer vague facts. At 8:15, I arrived at the office. Olivia was not there. Her desk was empty. Janet waved me into her office. Everything okay? Yes. You sure? Yes. She looked at me for a moment. You never take leave. I know. Good. I almost laughed. What? Nothing. She leaned back. Actually, since you're here, can we talk about tomorrow? Sure. The training is normally expected, but Olivia is excused from travel-heavy events if she chooses not to attend. There's no attendance penalty. My skin prickled. Okay. She told me she still wants to attend. Okay. She said you were driving. I'm not. Janet's eyebrows rose. She seemed certain. I told her this morning that I'm not attending and not driving her. Fine. I also want to be clear that I'm not arranging alternative transportation for her. Janet studied me. You don't have to. I know. That sentence felt almost revolutionary. You don't have to. Janet continued. The shuttle is available. Has Olivia used it before? No idea. Did she give you a medical restriction about transportation? Janet's expression changed. No. Okay. Why? Just making sure. Janet folded her hands. Hannah, if there's something I need to know, tell me. I thought about the future. The crash. The lie. The dead baby. I could not accuse Olivia of something she had not done yet. I think I've blurred work and personal favors too much. Janet nodded. That happens. I'm fixing it. Fair enough. When I returned to my desk, Olivia was waiting. She held my spare key between two fingers. Happy? I took it without touching her hand. Thank you. You made me leave home without breakfast. I asked for my property back. She stared at me. Then she glanced toward the coworkers around us and lowered her voice. Why are you making such a big deal about the car? Because you kept my spare key and Marcus drove it without asking me. It was 3 miles. That is not the point. Oh my God, Hannah. She pressed a hand to her stomach. I cannot do this stress right now. A few heads turned. There it was. The room changing. Pregnant woman holding her belly. Other woman pushing. I lowered my voice. Then we're done. Olivia sat at her desk. For the next hour, she ignored me. At 9:36, Marcus texted. Marcus, heard you're having some kind of issue with the car. I stared at the screen. Marcus had never texted me directly before. Me, no issue. Me, I confirmed with Olivia that neither of you has permission to use my car. Marcus, we moved it one time. Me, Olivia said that. Marcus, what's the big deal? Me, there isn't one as long as you don't use it again. Marcus, she said you're refusing to take her tomorrow. Me, correct. Marcus, you know she's pregnant, right? Me, yes. Marcus, she needs reliable transportation. Me, then please arrange it. Marcus, I have work. Me, so do I, usually. Marcus, this is petty. I did not answer. At 10:02, Olivia sent me a company message. Olivia, can you please confirm for Janet that I had every reason to expect you were driving me tomorrow? I stared at the wording. Not can you drive me. Not can you help. Confirm that I was entitled to rely on the routine. A record. Me, I understand that I have driven you many times. Me, I did not agree to drive you tomorrow. Olivia, you always drive me. Me, that is different. Olivia, you knew I needed a ride. Me, knowing you prefer riding with me is not the same as me agreeing to tomorrow. Olivia, we always do the same thing. That was the problem. Routine had become assumption. But assumption was not consent. Me, to avoid confusion, I am stating clearly that I am not providing transportation tomorrow. Me, my leave is approved and I will not be attending. Me, please use the company shuttle or another option. Olivia did not respond. At 10:15, Janet forwarded me a note Olivia had sent her. Olivia, since Hannah is unexpectedly unavailable, can the company reimburse mileage if Marcus drives me? Janet, yes, subject to the normal policy. Olivia, thanks. Olivia, just documenting that Hannah has been my usual ride and cancelled the routine today. Janet, transportation between employees is personal, not company provided. Janet, Hannah is on approved leave. Janet, please choose the option that works best for you. I saved it. At noon, I shut down my computer. I handed Priya my project notes. Then I left the office. I did not tell Olivia goodbye. At the dealership, they erased the old key authorizations, re-registered the 2 keys in my possession, and confirmed there were no additional active digital keys. The service receipt showed 2:18 p.m. I drove straight home afterward. At 4:03, my building garage recorded my car entering. I parked. I put the keys in the blue bowl. Then I photographed them there. It felt absurd. Obsessive. Maybe it was. But I had lived through what happened when other people controlled the story. This time, I wanted the truth to have timestamps. At 5:22, Olivia texted. Olivia, Marcus can take me. I exhaled. Good. Then, Olivia, hope you're happy. I did not respond. At 6:10, another message. Olivia, he has to detour for his site visit but whatever. At 6:12, Olivia, this is going to make me late. At 6:13, Olivia, if Janet asks, I told you weeks ago I needed the ride. I read that twice. Me, if Janet asks, I'll tell her the truth. Olivia, which is? Me, that I have occasionally given you rides. Me, I did not agree to drive you tomorrow. Me, I told you this morning I would be on leave and unavailable. Olivia, unbelievable. At 7:30, Marcus texted. Marcus, what route do you usually take to the training center? I did not answer. At 7:42, Marcus, Olivia says you know a shortcut. I looked at the time. 7:42, the exact time of the crash tomorrow. My skin went cold. Me, use your navigation app and follow current traffic conditions. Marcus, helpful. I put the phone on Do Not Disturb. Not off. Not yet. I wanted emergency calls to get through. But I would not keep participating in their transportation plan. At 9:14, Olivia called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was soft. Hannah, I don't want to fight. I'm just stressed. You know how much tomorrow matters. Janet is finalizing lead assignments next month, and if I miss another regional thing because I'm pregnant, people are going to start deciding I'm not committed. I know you don't owe me anything. I just thought you'd help. Call me. For a moment, I nearly did. Then I listened again. Not because I wanted to punish her. Because I finally heard the center of the message. If I miss another regional thing because I'm pregnant. It was about visibility. Promotion. Fear. Real fear. That made her human. It did not make me responsible. I sent one text. Me, I understand why tomorrow matters to you. Me, I'm still not available to drive. Me, please use whatever transportation option is safest for you. She did not answer. I went to bed at 10. I did not sleep until after midnight. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the intersection. The gray truck entering from the left. The airbag. Olivia's blood. The sound Marcus made at the hospital when he learned about the baby. I woke at 5:58. For several seconds, I did not know which life I was in. Then I saw the keys in the bowl. I was home. My leave was approved. My car was parked downstairs. At 6:31, Olivia texted. Olivia, leaving now. At 6:34, Olivia, traffic looks awful. At 6:38, Olivia, Marcus says we're taking River Road. My heart slammed against my ribs. In my first life, I had taken the interstate. The crash happened at the intersection of Mercer Avenue and Route 18. River Road was different. The future had already changed. I stared at the map. River Road curved east toward Marcus's worksite before reconnecting with the highway near the training center. It added 27 minutes. At 6:46, I received a screenshot from Olivia. Navigation route. Arrival 8:31. Training started at 8:15. Olivia, see what I mean? I did not respond. At 6:51, Olivia, if you were driving we'd already be there. I put my phone face down. At 7:05, I made coffee. At 7:17, I washed a bowl. At 7:29, I stood at the window and watched delivery vans move through the street below. At 7:34, Olivia called. I answered. Hannah. Her voice was tight. What? Marcus wants to stop at his site first. Okay. I'm going to be late. I'm sorry. Can you call Janet? No. Just tell her traffic is bad. You can tell her. She'll think I'm making excuses. Then tell her the truth. You know how she is. I do. Hannah. No. She inhaled sharply. You really changed overnight. Maybe I had. I'm on leave, Olivia. This has nothing to do with leave. It has everything to do with it. Marcus said something in the background. What? Olivia snapped. Then to me, he says we have to go. Then go. She hung up. At 7:42, nothing happened. I stared at the clock until 7:43. then 7:44. I exhaled. The old crash had not happened. At 7:51, my phone rang from Olivia. I answered. Static. Then her voice. Hannah? Something was wrong. What happened? We crashed. My entire body went cold. Where are you? I don't know. Look at your map. I can't. She began crying. Marcus is bleeding. Call 911. I did. Are you in the car? Yes. Can you smell smoke? No. Do not move unless emergency dispatch tells you to. I can't feel my hand. Stay on the line with 911. Hannah. I'm here. This is your fault. The words landed with eerie familiarity. I closed my eyes. No. If you drove me, no. You were supposed to drive me. No. You canceled. I never agreed. She started sobbing. Why are you arguing with me? Because you need to focus on the dispatcher. A man shouted near her. Then the line disconnected. I immediately called 911 myself. I gave them Olivia's number, Marcus's name, their vehicle description, and the last route I knew. The dispatcher confirmed they already had the crash. I did not drive to the scene. I did not leave my apartment. I did not insert myself. At 8:09, Janet called. Hannah, are you okay? Yes. Olivia and Marcus were in an accident. I know. She called me. Do you know where? Somewhere along River Road. Emergency services already have it. Janet paused. Were you involved in their transportation plan? No. She told Priya this morning that you canceled on her. I took approved leave yesterday and told her before work that I would not be driving. I remember. I also told her the company shuttle was available. I know. Janet exhaled. Okay. Please preserve our messages. Another pause. Hannah. I'm serious. Why? Because she told me from the crash scene that it was my fault. Janet went silent. Then her voice changed. I'll notify HR. At 8:42, Marcus's sister called me. I had met her twice. How could you do this? I sat down. What happened? Olivia's in surgery. My stomach turned. Is the baby okay? I don't know. Is Marcus okay? Broken arm. Head injury. I'm sorry. You're sorry? Yes. You left them stranded. No. She said you were supposed to drive. I was on approved leave. You couldn't take a pregnant woman one time? I had taken her many times. Not today. She could lose the baby. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? That you'll take responsibility. There it was. Before the doctors had even finished. Responsibility. No. She inhaled sharply. You're unbelievable. She hung up. At 9:13, Carla Ruiz from HR called. Hannah, I'm calling because Olivia was traveling to a company event when the accident occurred. Okay. Were you scheduled to transport her? No. Had the company asked you to transport her? No. Did you previously agree to do so? Not for today. Do you have messages? Yes. Please preserve them. I already have. She paused. Good. At 10:26, Janet texted. Janet, baby is alive. I started crying. I did not know I had been holding my breath until then. Janet, Olivia has a fractured pelvis and internal bleeding. Janet, Marcus has a concussion and broken arm. Janet, both expected to survive. I put the phone down. The baby survived. The old tragedy had changed again. At noon, the police called. They wanted to know whether I had knowledge of the grant's route. I told them about the texts. I told them Marcus had asked for a shortcut. I told them I had recommended following navigation. The officer asked whether I owned the vehicle involved. No. Did you lend them a vehicle? No. Did they have access to yours? They previously had my spare key without my permission. I recovered it yesterday and had the vehicle reprogrammed. There was a pause. Why? I discovered unauthorized use. When? Yesterday. Do you have documentation? Yes. Please keep it. The question made my stomach tighten. What vehicle were they driving? A 2011 Ford Escape registered to Marcus Grant. I had seen it before. Old. Blue. I remembered Olivia complaining that it was unreliable. In my first life, it had not been involved. They had used my car. Because I had driven. This time, they used theirs. That fact would change almost everything. At 2:14, a police investigator called again. Ms. Reed, one more question. Sure. Did you know the grant's insurance policy appears to be inactive? My throat tightened. No. We're still verifying the coverage status. I didn't know there was any issue with it. Did they ask to use your vehicle for insurance reasons? Olivia asked if Marcus could use my car yesterday. She said it would solve transportation. Did she mention insurance? No. Did Marcus? No. Did either of them have your insurance information? I keep an insurance card in the glove compartment. Did they have access? I thought of the 2.8-mile unauthorized drive. Yes. The investigator was quiet. Okay. Please preserve everything. After the call, I sat at my kitchen table and stared at nothing. In my first life, I had assumed the fight over my insurance came after the accident because I was driving. What if they had known the policy lapse before? What if Marcus had moved my car Friday because he was testing whether the spare key still worked? What if Olivia wanted him to borrow it because their own vehicle was uninsured? That did not mean they planned a crash. I refused to let my fear turn into fantasy. But it meant their desperation had started before the crash. At 4:38, Janet called. HR is asking everyone not to discuss the accident. Understood. Olivia's family is already contacting people. I know. Her mother called me. What did she say? That you abandoned Olivia after months of providing pregnancy-related transportation. I closed my eyes. Of course. Hannah, I told HR that transportation was never part of your job. Thank you. She also said you withdrew because you were angry about Olivia's accommodation. That's false. I know. Do you? Yes. Janet sounded offended. You took leave before Olivia even arrived yesterday. I approved it. There was no argument. Relief moved through me. A neutral person. A fact. A timestamp. Not someone saving me. Just someone who remembered what happened. That was enough. At 6, I received a message from Olivia's mother. Mrs. Grant, I hope you understand what you've done. Mrs. Grant, my daughter trusted you. Mrs. Grant, she may never walk normally again. Mrs. Grant, the least you can do is admit you were supposed to drive her. I did not answer. At 6:17, Mrs. Grant, we have messages. I still did not answer. At 6:32, Mrs. Grant, please call me so we can sort this out privately. I forwarded the messages to HR and saved screenshots. Then I blocked her number. At 8:04, Marcus texted from the hospital. Marcus, we need to talk. I did not respond. At 8:07, Marcus, don't make this worse. At 8:09, Marcus, you know you agreed to drive her. Me, I did not agree to drive Olivia today. Me, I informed her yesterday morning that I was on approved leave and unavailable. Me, I will not make any false statement about transportation. Marcus, false? Marcus, you've been driving her for months. Me, that does not create an agreement for today. Marcus, you screwed us. Me, I'm sorry you were injured. Marcus, we need your insurance info. There it was. Me, my vehicle was not involved. Marcus, you were supposed to be. Me, my vehicle was not involved. Marcus, Hannah. Me, do not contact me for insurance coverage related to a vehicle I did not own, drive, or authorize. He stopped responding. I slept badly. The next morning, I woke to 14 missed calls. 3 from unknown numbers. 2 from HR. 1 from Janet. 8 from Olivia. I called HR first. Carla answered. We need to meet today. Okay. Olivia has filed a workplace complaint. For what? Retaliation related to pregnancy accommodation and unsafe withdrawal of transportation. Olivia says she had been promised. I actually laughed. I'm sorry. I understand. No, I don't think you do. I probably do. Carla sounded tired. She is also asserting that the company's reliance on informal employee transportation created a safety risk. That part may be true generally. It is not true that I was assigned to drive her. I know the distinction. Good. We're going to investigate. Good. There was a brief silence. You sound unusually calm. I've learned that facts are easier to work with when they're written down. Carla said, bring everything. I did. The HR meeting took place over video because I was still on leave and Olivia was hospitalized. Carla attended with a company employment attorney named Victor Shaw. Janet joined for the first 20 minutes. No one accused me of anything. That mattered. In my first life, I had walked into every meeting already treated as the problem. This time, they asked questions. When did you request leave? Victor asked. Monday at 6:18 a.m. When was it approved? 6:24. When did you tell Ms. Grant you were not driving? 6:27. Did she arrive at work before or after that? After. Janet nodded. She arrived around 8:30. Victor looked at her. Had Hannah discussed taking leave with you before Monday? No. Was the leave connected to Olivia? Not to my knowledge. Did Hannah ever complain about Olivia's pregnancy accommodation? Janet shook her head. No. Did she ever refuse an assigned responsibility because of Olivia's pregnancy? No. Was transportation an assigned responsibility? No. Victor turned back to me. Why did you include the sentence "I also will not be providing transportation to any employees" in your note to Janet? I had anticipated that. Because Olivia had been asking me for rides, and I wanted to separate personal favors from work. Why that morning? Because I was taking leave and would not be attending the training. Was there another reason? I thought about the spare key. Yes. I explained what I discovered. The key. The unauthorized drive. The insurance call. The dealership reprogramming. Victor's expression changed. Do you believe the Grants intended to use your vehicle without permission? I know Olivia asked if Marcus could use it. I know they had my spare key. I know my vehicle activity log shows Marcus drove it Friday without asking me. I don't know what they intended beyond that. Good answer, he said. Not flattering. Just accurate. Carla leaned forward. Did you know their insurance had lapsed? No. When did you learn? After the crash, from police. Victor wrote something. Did Olivia ever ask for your insurance card? No. Did Marcus? No. Did they have access to it? Potentially, when they had the spare key. Okay. Janet looked disturbed. I didn't know any of this. I didn't either until Monday. Victor asked, why didn't you report the unauthorized vehicle use to police? I recovered my key. I documented the issue with my insurer and reprogrammed the car. At the time, I didn't know whether the short drive was malicious. That was reasonable. He clicked to the next document. This is Olivia's complaint. He shared the screen. Her wording was careful. Hannah had repeatedly provided transportation as an accommodation for pregnancy-related commuting difficulty. Hannah withdrew that support without reasonable notice. Hannah's withdrawal forced Olivia to use an older, less safe vehicle. Hannah had previously agreed to drive Olivia to the training. Hannah's conduct was motivated by resentment about covering Olivia's work during prenatal appointments. I read the paragraph twice. Transportation was not an accommodation. Carla nodded. We have no record of it being one. I never agreed to it through HR. We know. Victor asked, did you ever tie rides to Olivia's performance, deadlines, or pregnancy accommodation? No. Carla pulled up an April chat. Olivia, Marcus's escape sounds like a lawnmower. Me, please get it checked. Olivia, that costs money, lol. Me, so does breaking down. Olivia, this is why I ride with you. The exchange established one useful point. I had told her to repair the vehicle, not promised to replace it. Victor asked, any other relevant messages? Yes. I showed them Monday. The direct refusal. The shuttle suggestion. Her message asking me to confirm that her expectation should count as an agreement. Marcus asking for my car. Marcus asking for my route. The pressure messages from Olivia's mother. Victor stopped me there. Forward that last one to me. I did. Do not communicate with her family directly going forward. Understood. Carla asked, are you comfortable returning to work Wednesday? Yes. We may temporarily separate you and Olivia if she returns. That's fine. The meeting ended after 90 minutes. When I closed the laptop, I expected relief. Instead, I felt exhausted. Protecting myself required energy I had spent my whole life giving to other people. The difference was that this time the energy built something. A wall. Not against compassion. Against substitution. Their need did not become my duty simply because I was nearby. At noon, the hospital called. I almost did not answer because I assumed it was another family member. It was a social worker. Ms. Reed, Olivia listed you as an emergency contact. My eyes closed. Of course she had. When? I'm not sure. I am not her family member and I'm not authorized to make medical decisions. I understand. Her husband is present. Then why are you calling? She asked to speak with you. I hesitated. Is this about her care? She's very distressed. I looked at the blocked messages on my phone. I'll take the call. A minute later, Olivia came on. Her voice was faint. Hannah? I'm here. They're talking about delivering the baby early. My throat tightened. Okay. I'm scared. I know. Marcus is fighting with insurance. I'm sorry. He says if you had just... I closed my eyes. Olivia. She stopped. I am not discussing blame while you're in the hospital. But you need to understand. No. You need to focus on your health and the baby. You're so cold. I'm not. You used to be here for me. I'm on the phone. You know what I mean. I did. She meant I used to absorb. I used to become the solution. I can care about you without accepting responsibility for the crash. Silence. Then a sob. I don't know what we're going to do. What did the hospital say? About what? Financial assistance. Insurance. Social work. Marcus says we don't qualify. Then ask the social worker. I don't want charity. I stared at the wall. But you want my insurance. She went quiet. The sentence was harsh. It was also true. I didn't say that. Marcus did. He's panicking. I understand. You don't. No. I don't know what it feels like to be in your situation. She breathed slowly. Then she said, I thought you'd help. I hope you get every form of legitimate help available. That's not what I meant. I know. The line went silent. Finally, she whispered, "They're coming in." Okay. I have to go. Take care of yourself. She hung up. The baby was delivered that evening by emergency cesarean section. A girl. 4 pounds, 9 ounces. She went to the neonatal intensive care unit. Olivia survived surgery. The news came from Janet. I cried again. Not because Olivia deserved my tears. Not because I owed her. Because a baby being alive was good. Because the second life did not need to repeat the first tragedy for me to be free. 2 days later, police completed the preliminary crash report. Marcus had been driving. Marcus was turning left across oncoming traffic at an intersection controlled by a flashing yellow signal. A delivery van was proceeding straight through from the opposite direction. Marcus failed to yield and braked late. There was no evidence of excessive speed by the van. The Escape's front tires were severely worn. The right front brake showed signs of uneven wear. Neither issue alone proved the crash was inevitable. Together, they made the Grants' claim that my absence forced them into an unforeseeably unsafe situation look different. The vehicle had not become unsafe Monday morning. They had known it needed maintenance. The insurer later confirmed that their automatic payment had failed 8 days before the crash because their checking account was overdrawn. The grace period expired at midnight before they left home, so the policy was inactive when they crashed. Again, not a crime. Not a conspiracy. A financial crisis. But the crisis explained urgency. They needed transportation. They did not want the shuttle. They did not want rideshare. They wanted my insured car. When I refused, they used their own. That still did not make me responsible for the crash. The following Monday, I returned to work. My desk looked untouched. Priya had placed a sticky note on my monitor. Welcome back. No driving required. I laughed for the first time in days. She came around the partition. Too soon? No. I can remove it. Leave it. She sat on the edge of the neighboring desk. How are you? Better. How's Olivia? Recovering. She filed a complaint against you. I know. Priya winced. Everyone knows. Great. No. I mean, everyone knows she did it. Not everyone believes it. I looked at her. Who does? She shrugged. People are people. That answer was more honest than reassurance. Did she tell anyone I agreed to drive her? Yes. Before or after the crash? Priya thought. Monday morning she told me you bailed on her. Exact word? Pretty sure. Did she say I had confirmed the ride? Priya frowned. She said, Hannah always takes me, and now suddenly she's off. I remember because I told her to take the shuttle. Did she? No. She said the shuttle made her nauseous. Okay. Priya studied me. Do you need me to tell HR? If they ask, tell them exactly what you remember. No more. No less. She smiled slightly. You sound like a lawyer. I've had practice. At 10, Carla emailed. Investigation update. No finding yet. But one sentence mattered. The company had determined that informal coworker rides were not a pregnancy accommodation, not an assigned job duty, and not company-provided transportation. That removed the foundation of Olivia's retaliation claim. She could still argue personal reliance. She could still argue negligence in civil court. But she could no longer say I had withdrawn a workplace accommodation. That afternoon, I hired Dana Cho, a civil attorney recommended through my insurer's legal referral line. I did not want another accusation to become a 5-year problem before I asked for professional help. She reviewed the messages, the vehicle log, the dealership receipt, the police contacts, and Carla's update. They have a problem. Which is? You did not drive. You did not own their vehicle. You did not create the road condition. You did not maintain their car. You did not promise transportation in a way I can see. Their theory is that because you had regularly driven Olivia, she relied on you continuing. Can that work? People can file lots of things. Winning is different. What should I do? Nothing. Do not contact them. Do not delete anything. Do not post online. I haven't. Good. Then she added, there's something else. What? With your authorization, your insurer sent me the note from Monday morning. The call? Yes. You specifically documented that Marcus and Olivia did not have permission to use your vehicle before the accident. I did. That is unusually helpful. I almost laughed. Unusually? Most people don't call their insurer to document who may not use their car one day before someone asks for coverage. I went still. Does that look suspicious? It could invite questions. My stomach dropped. Dana continued. But suspicious timing is not liability. You have a concrete explanation. You discovered your spare key missing and unauthorized vehicle activity. The dealership record supports you. Okay. Did you know their insurance had lapsed? No. Did you know they would crash? No. In this life, that answer was simple. No. Then we're fine. I looked out the office window. The sky was gray. Dana. Yes? What if they say I deliberately left them without transportation? They had transportation. Their own car. And a company shuttle. And rideshare. And possibly public transit. You are not a common carrier. I smiled despite myself. You say that like it should be obvious. It is. For the first time, I understood how different life looked when a professional with no emotional stake applied ordinary rules. Family pressure made everything feel morally infinite. Law was often narrower. Who owed what duty? Who controlled what property? Who made what representation? Who caused what harm? The Grants wanted the answer to every question to be me. It was not. 2 weeks after the crash, Olivia's mother posted on social media. She did not name me. She wrote about a trusted coworker who withdrew promised support at the last second and left a heavily pregnant woman with no safe transportation. The post spread through local parent groups. Someone identified the company. Someone else found my LinkedIn profile. By evening, I had messages calling me heartless. One person wrote, "Hope you can live with what happened to that baby." The baby was alive. But outrage rarely waited for updates. I sent everything to Dana and HR. I did not respond publicly. The next day, the company issued a neutral statement. An employee and family member had been involved in a private motor vehicle accident while traveling to an internal training event. The company was cooperating with relevant investigations. No employee had been assigned to provide personal transportation. That last sentence mattered. Olivia's mother deleted her post. Then she messaged my sister. Then my mother. Then an old college roommate. The story changed depending on the audience. To my mother, she said I had promised Olivia weeks earlier. To my sister, she said I resented pregnant coworkers. To my roommate, she said I knew the Grant's car was unsafe and deliberately forced them to use it. Each version created a new record. Dana collected them. "Keep letting them talk," she said. "They're doing our job." The first major break came from something I had not expected. Police released the contents inventory from the Grant's vehicle after the tow. Inside the glove compartment, investigators found a printed copy of my auto insurance card. Not theirs. Mine. I stared at the report. "How did they get it?" Dana asked. "They had access to my glove compartment Friday." "Do you keep old copies at home?" "No." "Did you give them one?" "No." "Could Olivia have photographed it previously?" "Maybe. But this was a printed card." Dana was quiet. "That changes the flavor." "What does it prove?" "By itself? Only that they possessed your insurance card. Not why." "Could they claim it was accidental?" "Sure. Maybe Marcus printed it after moving your car. Maybe Olivia had it for emergency contact purposes. We need more." The answer did not arrive immediately. Over the next several weeks, Marcus formally demanded coverage from my insurer. The dispute moved into a declaratory action case, and the broker was required to produce the relevant correspondence. Marcus had used his work email to communicate with an independent insurance broker. 3 days before the crash, Marcus wrote, "Our current auto policy may lapse. If my wife rides in another insured vehicle for work, does that vehicle's policy cover medical expenses if there's an accident?" The broker responded, "Coverage depends on fault, policy terms, state law, and whether the vehicle owner permitted use." Marcus, "What if the owner is her coworker and regularly drives her?" Broker, "That still depends on the actual facts. Do not assume another person's policy will cover your losses." 2 days later, Marcus, "If I drive the coworker's car with permission, would her liability coverage apply?" Broker, "Possibly, subject to permissive use provisions and exclusions. Confirm permission directly with the owner and insurer." Marcus never did. Instead, Olivia asked me whether he could use my car. When I refused, they still kept a printed copy of my insurance card in their vehicle. That did not prove they wanted an accident. It proved they were thinking about my coverage before anything happened. The timing transformed their post-crash demand from grief-driven desperation into part of an existing plan to solve their insurance problem through my policy. Dana called Victor. Victor called Carla. HR widened the internal investigation. Now the company wanted to know whether Olivia had used workplace relationships to create an insurance arrangement. She had not. But she had tried. The investigators pulled her archived company email. Most of it was ordinary. Project updates. Meeting notes. Jokes. Then they found one email from the Friday before the crash. Olivia had accidentally sent it from her company account instead of her personal account. Got her spare. You can check whether her card is still in the glove box tonight. 30 seconds later, she deleted it. Deletion did not remove it from the company's email archive. My hands turned cold when Carla showed me. Marcus replied, "Perfect." I looked away from the screen. Not because the words were dramatic. Because they were so casual. Got her spare. Like borrowing a pen. Like my property was a tool in their household. Carla asked, "Did you authorize her to take the key?" No. Did you know she intended Marcus to inspect your insurance card? No. Did you authorize Marcus to drive? No. Did you know he drove 2.8 miles? Not until Monday. Carla closed the document. "I'm sorry." I nodded. The apology mattered more than I expected. Not because Carla had done anything wrong. Because someone was finally seeing the mechanism. The pattern had always been disguised as small favors. A spare key. A ride. A copied card. A quick detour. A little help. Then, when risk arrived, all those little things were rearranged into evidence that I had accepted responsibility. The Grants had not planned a collision. They had planned access. If something went wrong while Olivia was in my car, my insurance would be involved. If Marcus could drive my car, my insurance might be involved. If they could establish that I had promised transportation, they could argue reliance when I withdrew. They had built backup options around me. I was not a person in their plan. I was coverage. At the next recorded HR investigatory interview, Olivia joined by video from home. She looked pale and tired. Her daughter was still in the NICU. For a moment, I hated that we were doing this while she was recovering. Then I remembered she had filed the complaint. The company had not dragged her into a dispute. She had brought one. Victor began with the deleted email. "Olivia, what did you mean by got her spare?" She looked at her lawyer. He answered. "My client acknowledges she had possession of a key with Hannah's prior permission." "That is not accurate," I said. Her lawyer frowned. Victor held up a hand. "Hannah will have her turn." He looked at Olivia. "Did Hannah give you the key on Friday?" "Yes." "For what purpose?" "To get my bag." "Did she authorize you to keep it?" "I forgot to return it." "Then why did you write to Marcus that you got it?" Olivia swallowed. "I don't know." "Why did you tell him he could check whether Hannah's insurance card was in the glove compartment?" She looked down. "We were worried about transportation." "Why did Hannah's insurance card matter?" "Marcus knew our policy was having a payment issue." "Did Hannah know?" "No." "Did you ask Hannah whether her policy would cover you?" "No." "Did you ask permission to copy or remove her insurance card?" "No." "Did Marcus drive Hannah's vehicle Friday?" Olivia hesitated. "Yes." "With Hannah's permission?" "I thought she wouldn't care." "That was not my question." "No." The word landed softly. Victor continued. "On Monday, after Hannah told you she would not drive you, you asked whether Marcus could use her car." "Yes." "Why?" "Because we needed transportation." "You also had the company shuttle." "It made me sick." "Did you tell HR you could not use the shuttle because of a medical condition?" "No." "Did you request an alternative transportation accommodation?" "No." "Why not?" I didn't think I needed to. Because you expected Hannah to drive you? Yes. Had Hannah agreed to provide rides as a formal accommodation? No. Had the company asked her to? No. Her lawyer shifted. This line of questioning is becoming repetitive. Victor nodded. Then let's move on. He displayed her Monday message. Can you please confirm for Janet that I had every reason to expect you were driving me tomorrow? Why did you want written confirmation? Olivia's eyes filled. Because she was changing the routine. What routine? She always drove me. Did she explicitly agree to drive you on Tuesday? Olivia hesitated. Not in those exact words. Did you have a message saying she would? No. Did anyone hear her promise to drive you? No. Did Hannah dispute your assumption Monday? Yes. Immediately? Yes. Did she provide alternative options? She mentioned the shuttle. Did you take it? No. Why? I told you. Victor leaned back. Olivia, your complaint alleges Hannah's withdrawal forced you into an unsafe vehicle. Did Hannah know your vehicle was uninsured? No. Did she know the tires were worn? No. Did she know about the brake issue? I don't think so. Did she choose your route? No. Did she tell Marcus to take River Road? No. Did she operate the vehicle? No. Then what act by Hannah do you believe caused the crash? Olivia looked at me. She left me. Not a legal answer. A human one. The room went quiet. I felt something inside me soften and harden at the same time. I understood what she meant. For months, I had trained her to believe I would be there. I had picked her up when Marcus worked early. I had waited outside prenatal appointments. I had rearranged meetings. I had carried her laptop. I had driven. I had said yes so consistently that my no felt like harm. But expectation was not ownership. Victor said gently, that may be how it felt. It is not the same as causing the accident. Olivia began crying. Her lawyer asked for a break. We reconvened 20 minutes later. This time, her lawyer took over. He questioned me. Ms. Reed, how many times had you driven Olivia to work in the 3 months before the accident? I don't know exactly. Perhaps 20. More than once a week? Yes. Did you ever ask for payment? No. Did you know she experienced pregnancy-related nausea in rideshare vehicles? She told me some drivers made her nauseous because of odors. Did you know she preferred your vehicle? Yes. Did you know her husband's vehicle was old? Yes. Did you know she depended on you? I knew she preferred riding with me. That was not my question. I did not understand it as dependence. You called yourself her designated driver in a message. He displayed it. Me, your designated driver is downstairs. The message was from May. I remembered sending it with a laughing emoji. Yes. Were you her designated driver? Not formally. But you used the phrase. As a joke. Convenient. Dana spoke calmly. Please keep the questions factual. Victor nodded. Rephrase. The lawyer continued. On the day before the crash, you abruptly took leave. Yes. You refused to drive her. Yes. You contacted your insurer. Yes. You reprogrammed your vehicle. Yes. You documented your keys at home. Yes. You preserved messages. Yes. And you want us to believe you had no expectation that something might happen? There it was. The question I had feared. I looked at him. I expected the Grants might try to use my car without permission because they had taken my spare key and already driven it. Did you expect an accident? No. Did you believe their vehicle was unsafe? I knew Olivia had joked that it sounded bad. I did not know its mechanical condition. Then why the extraordinary documentation? Because I discovered unauthorized access to my car. He smiled slightly. You photographed your keys at home. Yes. People do not normally do that. No. Why did you? Because Olivia had already asked me to tell our manager that her expectation of a ride should count as an agreement. I did not agree that it did. She was trying to establish a record. I decided to establish an accurate one. His smile disappeared. Dana did not look at me. That was how I knew the answer had landed. The lawyer moved to another question. Did you resent covering Olivia's work? Sometimes. Olivia looked up. I continued. But I never tied rides to her work performance or pregnancy. So you admit resentment. I admit being human. Victor hid a smile behind his hand. The lawyer tried again. Did you believe Olivia used her pregnancy to get special treatment? No. Never? I believed people, including me, volunteered extra help because she was pregnant. That is different. Did you think she was taking advantage of you? By the end, yes. Because she was pregnant? Because she took my spare key, let her husband drive my car without permission, and tried to access my insurance information. Silence. The lawyer looked down at his notes. He did not ask another question about resentment. The recorded interview ended without a decision. Before Victor closed the video session, Olivia asked to speak to me for 1 minute. Her lawyer remained on the call. Dana sat beside me and looked over. My choice. I nodded. Victor muted himself but stayed connected. Olivia's eyes were swollen. You really think I planned all this? I think you planned to use my car. We needed help. You took my key. You always let me use things. That isn't permission. You would have said yes. You didn't ask. Her jaw tightened. Because you started acting crazy. You had the key before I changed anything. She looked away. That fact trapped her better than accusation. Marcus was scared about the insurance. So you looked at mine. He wanted to know what options existed. My insurance was not your option. We weren't trying to hurt you. I believe you. She looked surprised. I don't think you wanted me hurt. I think you wanted me available. Her mouth trembled. What's the difference? A lot. I leaned toward the screen. You keep talking as if my car, my time, my insurance, my job, and my word were resources you could use because your situation was harder. I was pregnant. I know. My husband was drowning in bills. I know. We were scared. I know. What was I supposed to do? Ask. Accept no. Use the shuttle. Fix your insurance. Tell HR you needed an accommodation. Anything except decide that I would carry it. She began crying again. I lost so much. I looked at her. She had scars. Pain. A premature baby still in the hospital. I did not deny any of it. I'm sorry for what happened. But you're not sorry you weren't there. The old me would have lied. The new me did not. No. Her breath caught. I'm sorry you crashed. I'm sorry you were hurt. I'm sorry your daughter was born early. But I am not sorry I wasn't driving. She stared at me. Then she whispered, I hate you. I nodded. You're allowed. I ended the call. 3 days later, HR issued its findings. My leave had been legitimate and approved. Transportation had never been an assigned duty or pregnancy accommodation. There was no evidence I retaliated against Olivia. There was substantial evidence that Olivia had taken my spare key without permission, facilitated unauthorized access to my vehicle, and attempted to obtain insurance information for personal use. Her complaint against me was dismissed. The company issued her a final written warning for misuse of company systems and dishonest statements during the investigation. They did not terminate her. The misconduct finding was documented separately from her medical leave and recovery. The decision was careful, procedural, real. Marcus's coverage fight did not disappear when HR closed its case. His attorney continued pressing the demand against my insurer. The insurer maintained its denial because my vehicle was not involved and neither grant had permission to use it. Dana handled the remaining correspondence while the declaratory action case moved forward. Then the police report became final. The collision resulted from Marcus's failure to yield combined with vehicle maintenance deficiencies. No evidence connected me to the crash. The delivery driver disputed any fault, and the remaining property and medical losses stayed with the grants subject to whatever assistance they could obtain. Their lapsed policy meant their own medical payment and collision coverage were unavailable. The hospital bills did not vanish. The NICU bills were enormous. The grants applied for assistance programs. Some balances were reduced. Some were placed on payment plans. They sold their truck. Then their apartment lease ended. They moved in with Olivia's mother. From the outside, it looked like a family collapsing. In my first life, I would have seen that collapse and felt required to stop it. In this life, I learned something uncomfortable. Compassion did not require me to become collateral. I donated anonymously to the hospital's neonatal family fund. Not to Olivia. Not to settle anything. Because babies in intensive care deserved help. Then I paid my own attorney. I rebuilt my emergency savings. I replaced the blue bowl by my door with a small lockbox for spare keys. Not because I was afraid every friend would steal from me. Because boundaries were easier when they had physical form. Olivia returned to work 4 months later. Her daughter came home after 7 weeks in the NICU. The first morning Olivia walked through the office, conversation stopped. She used a cane. She had lost weight. She looked older. I stood at the printer. Our eyes met. Neither of us spoke. Janet had moved Olivia to a different project. HR had arranged a schedule that reduced travel. No one asked me to help. That alone felt like a new world. 2 weeks later, Olivia requested a meeting. Not through HR. Just a calendar invitation. Subject: coffee? I almost declined. Then I accepted. We met in the cafeteria. She carried her own tray. I noticed that because I used to carry it for her. She sat across from me. How are you? Fine. Really? Mostly. She nodded. My lawyer says there's no viable case against you. I figured. Marcus is angry. I'm sure. We're separating. I had not expected that. I'm sorry. She shrugged. I'm not. She looked at her coffee. He blames me for the insurance lapse. I blame him for driving. We both blamed you because that was easier. The simplicity of the sentence hurt more than denial. Why tell me? Because I owe you the truth. I waited. She took a breath. We knew our policy might lapse. Marcus wanted to use your car for the training. I knew you'd probably say yes if I asked the right way. My fingers tightened around my cup. And the insurance card? He wanted the policy number. He said he could check whether your coverage allowed permissive drivers. Without asking me. Yes. Why? Because he thought you might get weird about it. I almost laughed. I did get weird about it. You had every right. She swallowed. The Friday drive was him testing the key. He said if you didn't notice, we could use the car Tuesday. I stared at her. So when you asked me Monday whether Marcus could use it, you already knew he could start it. Yes. And when I said no, we gave up on the car. Did you plan for an accident? No. She answered immediately. Did you want access to my policy in case something went wrong? A long pause. Yes. Even though I had never agreed to that. Yes. Did you think about what that could do to me? She looked down. No. The answer was clean. More honest than apology. No, she repeated. I thought you had good insurance. I thought your car was safe. I thought you had savings. I thought if anything went wrong, you'd know what to do. I felt a strange calm. You thought I could afford the consequences. Her eyes filled. Yes. And you couldn't. No. There it was. The value beneath the whole story. Not hatred. Hierarchy. My stability made me expendable. Her crisis made her entitled. In the hospital, you told people I had abandoned you. I know. You filed a complaint. I know. You let your mother contact my family. I know. Why? She wiped her cheek. Because if it was your fault, it wasn't ours. I looked away. Outside the cafeteria window, employees crossed the parking lot. Ordinary people carrying laptops and lunch bags. No one knew a confession was happening 10 feet away. I'm sorry, Olivia said. I believe you. She looked up hopefully. I continued. That doesn't mean we go back. Her hope disappeared. I know. Do you? I think so. She touched the cane leaning against her chair. I keep learning that some things don't go back. I nodded. We finished coffee. When we stood, she reached for her tray. For a second, her hand trembled. The old reflex in me moved. Help. Carry it. Make it easier. I kept my hands at my sides. Olivia steadied the tray herself. Then she smiled sadly. Still practicing? Every day. Me too. We walked out separately. A year after the crash, I changed jobs. Not because I had been pushed out. Because I received an offer from a larger company with a project operations role and a salary that finally matched the work I had been doing. During onboarding, HR asked whether I needed a parking pass. Yes. Any carpool registration? No. Emergency driver authorization? No. Sometimes I still wondered what would have happened if I had driven Olivia. Maybe the original crash would have happened exactly as before. Maybe not. Rebirth did not make me a scientist of fate. It gave me one useful fact. In my first life, I had been positioned to absorb consequences that belonged to other adults. In my second, I removed myself from that position. The Grants family still paid for financial fragility, poor vehicle maintenance, lapsed insurance, and Marcus's driving decision. I did not celebrate any of it. I also stopped calling their consequences proof of my cruelty. That September, Priya sent me a photo of the company shuttle lined up outside another regional training. Priya, guess what everyone is using now? Me, revolutionary. Priya, Janet says all employee transport has to go through approved channels now. Me, good. Priya, you changed policy without even working here anymore. Me, the crash changed policy. Me, I just stopped pretending private favors were a system. By then, I no longer photographed my keys every night. I no longer saved every ordinary conversation. Fear had done its job. The boundary remained. I had learned that kindness did not require permanent availability. I could help when I chose. I could refuse without turning the refusal into a moral trial. I could forgive an apology without restoring access. One Friday, my new coworker Maya stopped beside my desk. My car's in the shop. Any chance you're heading toward Westfield? I was. Her apartment was 10 minutes beyond mine. I looked at my calendar. I had nowhere urgent to be. Sure, I said. Really? Yeah. Today works. She smiled. Thank you. Then I added, just today, though. I'm not starting a carpool. She laughed. Deal. The sentence felt easy. No guilt. No panic. No need to over-explain. On the drive, Maya bought coffee. We talked about a client launch. I dropped her at her building. She got out. She closed the door. She did not ask for my spare key. She did not assume tomorrow. She simply waved. Thanks again. You're welcome. I drove home alone. That was when I knew I had finally learned the lesson correctly. The answer was never to stop helping. The answer was to stop disappearing inside the help. In my first life, I drove because I believed being needed made me safe in other people's hearts. It did not. It made me available. In my second life, I took leave. I stayed home. I watched other people panic when the person they had built their backup plan around was suddenly unavailable. Their panic was not proof that I had betrayed them. It was proof that they had counted on something they never owned. Me. And this time, I belonged to myself.